Well, welcome back, everybody. It's been a while since we've done a video like this. This is mainly going to go over the Troy-Bilt horse tiller tines. They're going to fit ponies and Econo horses. But times have changed, and so have the prices. So what we talked about last time, we looked at the new old stock. We looked at the KD tines, and I've got a couple other ones to show you. If you weren't here for the other one, you can take a look at my channel and take a look at what we had discussed last time. But our main talking points is 2-hole versus 3-hole tines. If you're curious of why there is a 3rd hole, it's so they could use them more universally between different brands. It's just, it's going to come down to money. They can market it to other people and other different products. Why wouldn't they, right? Well, the number one selling aftermarket at the moment by volume is going to be KD tines when it comes to a singular supplier. At the time of this videoing, you can get them on Amazon for $220 a set. They did mention on their website that their U.S. supplier has shut down, so we're going to say these are non-domestic, and you can leave it up to your imagination where these are produced. A lot of the cheaper ones you see back here, a lot of those are produced in India from the packaging that I was able to get. I don't know where the Stens was produced at. I don't know of a supplier right now in the U.S. that is supplying a tiller tine that's going to fit what we're trying to do today. So our main lookout that we're looking today is comparing them with a cheap $50 set off of eBay or the mid-range of the Stens. These are a 5mm. They're about $130 a set. They're usually able to get these through like your lawnmower repair shop, stuff like that, and you can get them on eBay as well. This is in comparison. This is no longer available. This is just new old stock to see what we're comparing it to. Now keep in mind, Troy-Bilt never did manufacture their own tines. Like most other companies, they're outsourcing anything that they need to outsource, so they had different U.S. suppliers that varied throughout the years, all the way back from the 60s up to current date. So let's jump right into it. First thing we want to look at, obviously, the 2-hole and the 3-hole. The biggest thing you're going to find, if you've already been there and you're coming to this video to figure out what's going on, is the radius on the inside bend of these tines. What that's going to cause issues with is as you stack your tines and go all the way around, you're going to find that you don't have the bend that you need to. Look at this cheap one. You can almost see that it's straight through. And I've got one right here you can see in comparison. Let's flip her over. All that black right there, you're going to have to set those on a grinder and grind them all off. And if you have a horse, you're looking at 16 tines. You're going to have to do that. So you do have some time and labor, plus the fact of taking the material out of your tines, along with the size difference. I'm not sure if you can see it here on the video from what I'm looking at. We're missing some tines here in retrospect to the KD tines. I do see that they are thick. They're going to be competitive there with the KD tines. I think they're advertising theirs as a 6mm. The blade length is longer on the KD tines. The tip of the bolo tine is longer. And the geometry is just ever so different. Now I'll compare it with the Stens product. The blade length is much more correct. The radius is enough to a point where you won't have to do any modifications. The geometry is just a little short when it comes to the black side. That's going to be the Stens product. So that's about the only determinable difference, other than the fact that they are about 1mm skinnier, if that makes any sense. So if you've seen this over here in the corner of your eye, what is going on here? Well, this isn't necessarily objective to what you're going to be putting your tiller through, unless you're going to be tilling up gravel. But I'm curious onto where they break and how they break. So we put these in the vise, and hopefully I can patch in different videos and pictures of how we did this to put some stress on it to see where they bend. When it came to the KD tines, however, they don't bend. They just break. So that does tell us a couple different things. That doesn't mean all bad. That just means that they are a harder steel as far as temper-wise, which can also help us with the longevity of how long they last. Keep in mind that the KD tine has a lifetime warranty, regardless of where they're manufacturing those through, and the Stens product has a 1-year warranty. So we tried to bend everything to about 90 degrees. On the whole side, just like the cheap ones and the KD tines. They broke. I couldn't get any of them to really stay together. This one here is a used tine, which would be, you know, from back in the 70s and 80s. And we also have the Stens product. Well, looky here. We actually didn't fracture it. There is some microscopic tears in there, but it didn't bend. Well, it didn't break. So that just tells me it's a little bit softer of a steel. I'll try and patch in a video where the Troy-Bilt was trying to advertise to where you had the right amount of balance between tempered steel to where they weren't going to bend everywhere and they were still last long, and they wouldn't just fracture when it came into hard impacts with rocks and such. So obviously you're not going to be putting this amount of stress, let alone sideways. This is just kind of give us an idea. I was able to break it, which surprised me through a vise right in the middle of the tang itself. So that was a little concerning of why it broke. With all that meat, you know, this would almost be understandable, but there's not a whole lot of bending. They just go. So it is the harder steel. They do have a lifetime warranty. You're not going to be putting this amount of stress on them. So in comparison, what we're really looking at is do we want to spend money on the $50 sets? You're going to have to grind them all down. They're going to be shorter. They're not going to get as much cutting. I think your next step up there is going to be looking at these Stens products. They're about $130 a set where you're getting them at. But they are thinner, and they got a 1-year warranty. So if you're going to be using your tiller for years and years and years to come, when it comes to anything like braking within your normal use, KD tines is really got to come out ahead of everyone just because they're the only ones offering a lifetime warranty. If you can, however, get you a set of new old stock off of eBay or just wherever you can find them, they're going to have all the radius they need. You can see that the blade is just very close, and they are sharper. I'm not talking about where they come to a point like a used tine would be. That's not what we're looking for. That's not going to cut up much. I'm talking about the edge. When it comes to chopping up your green beans or your sweet corn, that edge is very nice when it comes to just chopping up your foliage. So the edge on the KD tines is going to be much sharper than just a cheap eBay or Amazon set that you're going to find. Are much more blunt. So, but like I said, if you're not going to be chopping up sweet corn, that factor won't matter. So hope this gives you guys a couple more perspectives as far as what's on the market today, and give you a little more info on the budget and where you're heading. So hopefully we can update this here in a couple more years and see where it goes. Thanks.